Good morning to you, my dear students. How are you today? I believe you are fine and you are safe. I'm sure you are keeping social distance, washing your hands regularly, and you are applying alcohol-based sanitizers. Eyes or muscle. This morning we'll be taking literature. I want to appeal to you that you sit down quietly, get to writing materials, and pay attention as we start the class. This is very vital. This topic is a vital part of literature. The moment you don't understand this topic, it's very, very possible such a person cannot pass literature. Today we are considering figures of speech. And don't forget, my name is Odimole Dapo. What's our learning objectives for this class? Our learning objectives. Number one, by the end of the class, you should be able to define figures of speech. Very important, the definition. You should be able to give examples. You should be able to explain the examples, the types and examples. And lastly, you should be able to back up your explanation with enough illustrations and examples. And the last one, you should be able to identify them easily in literary works. You should be able to identify figures of speech easily in literary works. Yes, what is figures of speech? We all know that literature or literary work is not like any other write-up. It's different. You cannot compare a novel to a physics textbook. The level of language in physics textbook is different from the level of language in a novel. And the use of language is quite different. What makes it just stands out is figure of speech. Literary work stands out through the use of figure of speech. And these are phrases or words having meanings than its literary meanings. They are phrases or words that have different meaning than the literary meaning. And their meaning are not layman's meaning. It conveys meaning by identifying and comparing one thing to another. It compares, which has connotation, that means deep thoughts or meaning familiar to the audience. That is why it helps in creating vivid rhetorical effects. Most literary expressions, they leave questions unanswered on people's mind. Then let's start with types of figures of speech. Types with their examples. But before we go to that, look at what I've underlined again. I said the figure of speech is a phrase or a word that has a different meaning than its literal meaning. That means more than layman meaning. And it conveys meanings by identifying or comparing one thing to another with a connotative background. Connotative means deep. Deep. Then let's go to our first figure of speech, which is simile. We say simile is comparing two things using as, like, as if, and as though. When you compare two things using any of these, that's a simile. You compare two things using any of these. You use as, like, as if, or as though. That, at least if you see any expression where two things are compared using any of these words, that's simile. As slippery as an air, like pea in a pod, as blind as a bat, eats like a pig, as wise as an owl. Let me try and use two of these things in a statement. I will tell you, Jide is as blind as a bat, that is, Jide does not see well or hardly sees in the night. Sorry, in the day. Bat sees in the day, not in the night. Then he eats like a pig. When somebody eats like a pig, that means the person is a voracious eater. Someone who eats audibly as if the food is running away. That's that about simile. Then for metaphor, metaphor makes comparison between two things which are unlike, two unlike things or ideas without, look at this, without what? Without any of this. That is, we say simile is direct comparison. Simile is direct what? Comparison. We compare directly without using is, as, like, or as though. If I tell you somebody has the art of stone, that means the person is hard-hearted. The person is hard-hearted. Then time is money. It's telling you that you don't waste money, you don't waste time. I spend my time as I send my time like money. That's simile. My time is my money. That means my time is precious to me, like money is precious to me. The world is a stage. It's a place you come to and display your talent. That's the meaning. These are very good examples of metaphor. Then onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the term for a word that sounds like what it describes. This is a word that sounds like what it describes. It describes the sound. The word describes the sound vividly. Whoosh, whoosh, splat, like the thing is splatting for the whoosh. The way it is said is the way it appears. Whoosh, whoosh. Then click, click, click. The word click sounds like it's happening for you. So we say this term is for a word that sounds like what it's describing. Things like tick tick, it's sounding like what it's describing. Tick tick. Things like zoom, when I say zoom, it sounds as if the thing is really happening. That way, the word boom, 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 boom. It's sounding boom, boom. As if the thing is happening for you. So we use this for words that sound like what is describing. Now let's go on to oxymoron now. Oxymoron is placing two contrasting words, two self-contradictory words side by side. You place two contradictory words side by side. When you have peace force, how can peace be forceful? But you're trying to pass a message. When you have sweet sorrow, how can sweet be sorrowful? How can something sorrowful be sweet? When you have free market, how can a market be free? So when you place two contrasting words side by side in literature, that's referred to as oxymoron. Don't forget here I said the word sounds like what is describing. And here I said you place two contrasting words side by side. Free market, sweet sorrow, bitter truth, happy goodbye. How can goodbye be happy? So all these things are what makes up oxymoron. Then we have personification. In personification, you give the attributes of human to non-living things. Personification gives human quality to non-living things or ideas. That is, non-living things take up the actions of human. Non-living things take up the actions of human. The flower nodded. How can a flower nod? You can only see it in action, but on a good day, a flower cannot nod. That's when it is dangling. The cornflakes danced. How can flake dance? But if you pour water in it and it's moving around, it looks as if it's dancing. All this, when you say the sun is smiling, the sun, S-U-N, the sun cannot smile. But when it is shining briskly, not hot on the body, it's not giving you heat, but even the radiation at times is lovely to the body. So the sun is smiling briskly. Or you say the cloud is crying. The cloud cannot cry. But when there is heavy rainfall, there is rainfall, you say the cloud is crying. But normally the cloud cannot cry. Then, so synecdoche now. This is when the part represents the whole. The part represents by what? See here, by the whole. Or the whole represent the parts. It's vice versa. The part for the whole for the part. When you say he has a four-wheel, he has a four-wheel. Four wheels are somebody saying he has a car. Every car has four wheels. Every car has four wheels. So that part of it is representing it. Then the police is coming. A part of them representing them. Then plastic. We all know our ATM cards come in form of plastics. So in developed countries, is a coded word for saying credit card. Bring my plastic from my purse. It means what? Bring my ATM card from my purse. Then Coke. Coke is anything Coca-Cola. That's the belief. Those days, it was anything black, Coca-Cola, Coke. Then hired hands. These are workers. If I say crown, crown is for royalty. Crown is for royalty. So these are examples of synecdoche. Then understatement. This is saying something serious in a less important, less serious way. Say something serious in a less important and in a less serious way. Imagine somebody of 13 years impregnated, but I don't want to say it in a harsh way. I can simply tell you that she has been put in a family way, as if it's no big deal. Look at my examples. It was just a scratch, as if no big deal, man, just a scratch. But it is something serious, but we are just trying to downplay it. That is the word downplay. The word is very important. Downplay it. Very important. I say this. Then it is a little dry and sandy. Imagine you're locked up inside a desert and somebody is telling you, don't worry, you'll be fine. The place is just a little dry and sandy. Dry and sandy, man, it's not as easy as that. The weather is colder today. Imagine you go to Austria. You live in Austria, the coldest part of the world. And what it tells you, the weather is cooler today, man. It's cooler indeed. Then it was interesting. When you're trying to cover up a bad experience, like you don't want to say it the real way it is. You want to downplay some part of it. You say it was interesting. It stings a bit. Imagine a serious wound. Maybe from football. Mommy, don't worry, it's not painful. It just stings a bit. You're trying to say something very serious in a mild way. Then irony. This is saying the opposite of what you mean. Opposite of your statement. You say the opposite of what you mean. This occurs when there is contrast between what is said and what is meant. How nice, she said, when I told her I had to work all weekends. How can it be nice to work all weekends? That's ironical. You're just trying to, like, you're saying you're lying in a fashionable way. Let me put it that way. Then a traffic cop gets suspended for not paying his parking ticket. How is that possible? When you are a traffic warden and you now become an offender, that is situation irony. That is just, those are saying the opposite of what is meant. The Titanic was said to be unsinkable, but sink on its first voyage. Imagine, ironical things. Let's go on to euphemism now. Euphemism is saying something harsh, something blunt, something offensive in a mild, indirect way. You say something harsh, something blunt, something offensive in a mild, indirect way. Somebody that just died. But you want to say it in a mild, indirect way. You say, he has passed away. He has passed away. So yeah, means death. Then if you don't want, nobody will tell you you don't say and the other person is lying, but you can say they are economical with the truth. So somebody a liar, you just that man is always economical with the truth. Then in companies now they will tell you, we are letting you go. Let go means, man, look for another work. We can't cope with you again. Or if I say my pen fell off the back of a truck, it's as simple as saying my pen was stolen. Then the last thing is it's a little thing on top. If I tell you Emmanuel is growing a little thing on top, that means Emmanuel is growing bald head. Bald head. So here you say something offensive, something blunt, something harsh in a mild way. Then for hyperbole now, hyperbole. This is over exaggeration. I call it excessive exaggeration. That's why I simply call it. I call it excessive exaggeration. And it is used for emphasis. Let's go to my examples now. Yeah. I have told you 1,000 times. I have told you to stop 1,000 times. There's no way you can tell somebody something 1,000 times. You're just saying you've told the person many times, but just trying to over hype. Let me use the word hype. You're trying to hype it. This must have cost $1 billion. I don't think anything can cost $1 billion. That is that minute. Is that minute? So they're trying to say it cost a fortune. I could do this forever. Nobody can do something forever. Nobody. You're just trying, you can do it. You're just saying you can do it again and again. She's older than death. No, I don't think anybody can be as old as death, because death is always eternal. Everybody knows that. Not everybody can know something. Not everybody. So here you can see the work of hyperbole here, where things are excessively exaggerated. Then we have assonance. In assonance, there's a repetition of vowel sound. In assonance, we repeat vowel sounds. Mind you, in English, we have just 5 vowel letters in English. But here, not letters are repeated, but sounds. And if you can see the repetition here, let me highlight them for you. Re, yeah. Re, yeah again. And me, eh. You can see the way, yeah, and and then A also. Then here we have it in yeah, we have it here, and we have it here. Here we have it repeated here, and repeated here. And then here we have it in blow, in on, and o. These are repetitions of vowel sounds. Here we have it in on. We have it here, we have it here, and we have it here. So here we repeat vowel sounds. Let's go on now to anaphora. This is a technical term where several phrases or verses begin with the same sound or words. Like you repeat phrases or verses to show importance or to play upon words. I came, I saw, I conquer, I. You can see. I is repeated. That's anaphora. Mad word, mad king, mad composition. You can see I being repeated here. It was the best of time. It was the worst of time. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. You can see here I, mad here, mad, then it was. Then here we have with, and with. Then lastly we have we shall. So you have them repeated at the beginning of words. That is anaphora. Then in conclusion now, we have more than this as figures of speech. But to avoid rushing all in a class, let's stop here for today. Next class, we'll go ahead and have more figures of speech then, so that we can understand things bit by bit. But let me tell you one thing. Using ordinary figure of speech in your writing is a way of conveying meanings in fresh, unexpected ways. It gives you class. When you're writing literature works and you use figure of speech very well, it gives you class. You can't compare the class of Wole Soyinka to that of Niyo Shunari in UI. Soyinka is an international writer whose book you have to sit down and really read with a dictionary beside it before you can understand what is expressing. So it makes you stand out when you use them in the right way. And like I said before, it makes your work unique. All literary works are made unique through figures of speech. Then their usage differentiates literature from other forms of writing. The only thing that differentiates literature from other forms of writing, figures of speech. That's how you know that this is literature, because the way the words are put together. And lastly, if you have any question on what we've discussed so far, send your questions to me via my email address using darkword.orimole@greenland.org. I'll be waiting for your questions. For your assignments, all these expressions, I want their answers. That's the first thing I will ask you next class. Our hair was like gravy running brown off her head and clumping up on her shoulders. So these expressions, I want their figures of speech against next class. So you try and work on that against next class. And before I leave, let me remind you that the virus is still real. Maintain all health guidelines. Stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you in next class. God bless you.